Okay, so you know how everyone's always asking, should I buy Bitcoin or is it too late? Or like, what about all these other cryptocurrencies that are out
Yeah.
there? Should I be looking at those instead?
Right.
So that is exactly what we are diving into today.
Okay.
With $2,000 cash in hand,
Right.
is it smarter to go with the tried and true Bitcoin
Uh-huh.
or to take a chance on Solana,
Yeah.
which has been, making some waves?
Right.
And to help us really break this down, we are going to be looking at an article from The Motley Fool,
Okay.
published just yesterday, April 1st, 2025.
All right.
So it's like piping hot off the presses.
Fresh.
Super fresh.
Yeah.
So what we really want to do is pull out the strongest arguments for both Bitcoin and Solana,
Okay.
lay out the risks that come with each one, and then also think about, how long you might be waiting
Right.
to actually see, some decent returns.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kick things off with Bitcoin,
Right.
the OG of the crypto world.
Yeah, yeah.
The article starts by painting this picture of where Bitcoin's at in the market right now.
Okay.
As of April 2nd, 2025,
Right.
Bitcoin was sitting pretty with a market cap of $1.7 trillion
Wow.
and a price tag of about $84,179.
Okay.
But, and here's the thing,
Yeah.
it did have a little dip of about 1.37% that day.
Okay.
And it's also down 6% since the beginning of the year.
All right.
So even the big dog, it's
Yeah.
not totally immune to these market swings.
Right.
But the article really zeroes in on this idea of Bitcoin as like digital gold.
Uh-huh.
Can you unpack that a little bit? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I think the digital gold analogy is pretty good, I think, in a couple of ways.
Okay.
You have the fixed supply,
Right.
obviously 21 million.
Yeah.
But you also have the history and the longevity,
Uh-huh. The
Yeah.
fact that it's been around for so long.
right? It's the first mover in a lot of ways. And that, you could argue that in and of itself gives it some kind of inherent value,
Yeah.
almost like a brand name recognition in a way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like the Coca-Cola of cryptocurrency.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you think about how many, cryptocurrencies have come and gone,
Right.
but Bitcoin is still there.
Exactly. And that's part of, I think, what feeds into this idea of it being a safe haven.
Right.
That limited supply.
Yep.
You can't just create more out of thin air.
Right.
It takes a ton of energy to mine new Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's very energy intensive.
And so every Bitcoin that's mined
Yeah.
is one less that's available.
Exactly. And I think what the article emphasizes is that it doesn't really matter
Okay.
what happens in the rest of the crypto world or even the tech world in general.
Uh-huh.
That scarcity,
Right.
that limited supply
Yeah.
is always going to be there.
It's like a fundamental law.
Yeah, like the laws of physics,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't change that.
Exactly. So even if like some crazy new technology comes along and like blows everything else out of the water,
Right.
that doesn't change the fact that there are only 21 million Bitcoins.
Right. And they're becoming harder and harder to get.
Exactly.
So that scarcity principle should theoretically
Yeah.
underpin its value.
So it really is being positioned as like the safe bet in a lot of ways.
Yeah, in the long term for sure.
Okay, but there's a flip side to that, right?
Yeah.
Because the article also points out that the
Oh.
safety,
Right.
the stability,
Yeah.
it might come at the cost of like explosive growth.
Right. And that's a really important trade-off to think about.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the argument for Bitcoin, it's not about, like outpacing every other cryptocurrency in terms of new features or like having this amazing ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
It's about that scarcity.
Right.
It's about that store of value.
So if that's the main selling point,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be the one that like suddenly shoots up in value overnight.
Right, exactly. It's more of a slow and steady kind of thing.
Okay, so then the question becomes, how long do you actually have to hold on to Bitcoin
Yeah,
to see those gains?
right.
And the article seems to suggest that you've got to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus,
Okay.
that this is a long-term play.
Because you've got the mining difficulty increasing over time.
Yeah, the more Bitcoin that gets mined,
Right.
the harder it becomes to mine the next block.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a process that's going to unfold over years,
Yeah.
maybe even decades.
So we're talking like serious patience here.
Yeah, you gotta have that long-term vision.
Okay, so just to summarize the Bitcoin side of things.
All right.
Scarcity is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Potentially a safer bet for holding value over time,
Uh-huh.
but maybe not the one for those like get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
And you've got to be ready to play the long game.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary.
All right, so let's switch gears
Okay.
and talk about Solana.
Yeah.
What is the story that the article is telling about Solana?
Well, as of April 2nd,
Yeah.
2025,
Mm-hmm.
Solana was trading at about $123.75.
Okay.
So down a little bit more than Bitcoin that day,
Right.
1.73%.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that it's down 28%
Wow.
year to date.
Okay, so that's a much bigger drop
Yeah,
than Bitcoin has seen.
right.
So right off the bat, it seems like we're dealing with a different level of risk here.
Yeah, it's a different kind of risk for sure.
Okay, so what is the argument for investing in Solana then?
I think the main thesis
Mm-hmm.
is that you're not just investing in a coin. You're investing in an ecosystem.
Right.
You know, the SOL coin
Yeah.
is the fuel that powers everything that's built on Solana.
Okay.
So all the decentralized applications, the NFT marketplaces, all that stuff. If that takes off,
Right.
then the demand for SOL should theoretically increase.
Because you need that SOL to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the gas
Right.
that keeps the engine running.
So it's more about like growth potential and utility.
Right. Yeah. It's a bet on the future.
But there's a big caveat here, right?
Yeah.
The article talks about the risk of technological disruption.
Yeah. And this is a huge risk
Okay.
in any tech space,
Yeah.
especially crypto.
Yeah.
You know, what if some other blockchain comes along
Right.
that's faster,
Yeah.
cheaper,
More for shit.
more scalable?
Yeah.
That could really hurt Solana.
So it's not like a sure thing.
No, not at all.
You're kind of betting that Solana can stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And that's always a gamble.
Now, one thing that the article highlights as
Yeah.
a potential growth driver for Solana
Uh-huh.
is AI,
Right.
artificial intelligence.
I mean, that's like the hot topic right now.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So what's the connection to Solana?
Well, there's some really interesting projects on Solana
Okay.
that are building infrastructure
Mhm.
for AI agents.
What do you mean by AI agent?
So imagine like little AI programs
Okay.
that can manage your crypto,
Mm-hmm.
interact with decentralized applications,
Okay.
make decisions based on data.
Wow.
It's like automating a lot of what we do manually now.
So these agents would be living on the Solana blockchain.
Right.
Yeah, and they would need or SOL to function.
Okay, so if this whole AI agent thing takes off,
Uh-huh.
that could be huge for Solana.
Yeah, it could be massive.
But of course, the article throws in a little reality check.
Right.
Because it's still so early,
Yeah.
nobody knows for sure
Uh-huh.
if these AI projects are actually going to deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting.
Right.
It's got a lot of potential,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a high risk, high reward kind of situation.
Yeah, it's still a gamble.
Okay. And then we have to talk about the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
meme coins.
Yeah. The article doesn't shy away from calling this a dubious distinction for Solana.
Right. It's definitely a double-edged sword.
Okay.
On the one hand, meme coins have brought a lot of attention to Solana.
Uh-huh.
They've driven up trading volume.
People are making money off of them.
Yeah, for sure.
But on the other hand,
Right.
it's not exactly the most solid foundation.
No meme coins are driven by hype and sentiment,
Yeah.
which can change very quickly.
So it's not a sustainable long-term strategy.
Probably not.
Okay, so let's talk about timelines then.
Okay.
Because the article seems to suggest that Solana might see some big changes
Uh-huh.
a lot faster than Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment
Okay.
because Solana is operating in this fast-paced tech environment
Right.
where things are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And so, maybe within a couple of years,
Okay.
we'll have a much clearer picture
Mm-hmm.
of whether Solana's ecosystem is
Okay.
really taking off.
Or if it's falling behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Bitcoin, that scarcity narrative,
Right?
that's going to play out over a much longer period.
Yeah, I think we're talking years, if not decades.
Okay, so to sum it all up,
Yeah.
Bitcoin is being presented as the lower risk option
Right.
when it comes to like holding your value over the long term.
Yeah.
But maybe not the one if you're looking for like crazy fast growth.
Right.
Solana, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
has the potential to grow a lot faster,
Yeah.
especially if those AI projects pan out.
Right.
But it's also riskier
Yeah,
because it all depends on whether Solana can keep up with the competition.
exactly. And that's a tough thing to predict.
Absolutely.
And I think regardless of whether you're leaning towards Bitcoin or Solana,
Yeah.
the article really emphasizes the importance of patience.
Okay.
Like, you got to be willing to hold on to your investment
Yeah.
for at least a few years.
Let's see how things play out.
Yeah, because these are long-term trends.
No, of course, we have to say this, and we always do.
Of course.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, we're not telling you what to do.
We are just breaking down this article.
Right, this is just information.
From the Motley Fool.
Yeah.
So the decision of whether to invest in Bitcoin or Solana or anything else for that matter is totally up to you.
It's your money.
Yeah.
It's your risk tolerance.
And your own research.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence.
Exactly.
So to wrap it all up for you, we've got Bitcoin, the OG.
Yeah.
The safe haven built on scarcity.
Right.
But maybe not the one for like overnight riches.
Yeah.
Then we've got Solana. The up-and-comer.
The ecosystem play.
Yeah.
Right.
Lots of potential for growth.
Especially with that AI angle.
Yeah.
Right?
But also a lot riskier.
Yeah, it's a different kind of bet.
And it kind of makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Like on a bigger level.
Yeah.
What does it mean if one of these succeeds over the other?
Right.
If Bitcoin, this like limited resource, ends up being the dominant digital asset, what does that say about the future of value?
Right.
But if Solana, this like dynamic, evolving ecosystem, ends up on top, what does that tell us about where innovation is heading?
Yeah. I mean, it's a philosophical question almost.
It really is. And there's no easy answer.
No, but it's worth thinking about.
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for.
That's right.
To get those brain juices flowing.
To make you think.
All right. Well, thanks for diving in with us today.
It was a pleasure.
And until next time, happy investing.
Stay curious.